Blog Talk Radio.
What's going on, folks? It's your boy Long Beach Joe, and I am back at it. Again. I'm back at it again, man. Listen, we got a lot to discuss. Y'all can tell I'm hyped up. I'm fired up. The New York Jets have, we're doing some things, man. We're going to be talking about some coaching changes here. We're also going to be talking about, some moves that the Jets are making. A lot of things moving and shaking. Coach Ulbrich, our defensive coordinator, he's going to be the Senior Bowl national team head coach. Okay. We're going to be discussing that and how that can affect the Jets draft. We're also going to be talking about the New York Jets backup quarterback option. Okay. We're going to be talking about that too. Okay. I'm also going to be discussing a little take that I have about Zach Wilson. And listen, this is a take a lot of people don't like. Oh, man, we're going to be discussing it all, okay? We got some stuff with Sauce Gardner, talking about players that he wants to see become a Jet. We're going to be talking about all it. So let me get into it, okay? Let me get into it all. Salute all savages. Listen, I am the man of the people. I'm here for the people. Let me shamelessly promote my Facebook page. Everyone go on Facebook, search The Long Beach Joe Show. Like that page. My content's up there. Go ahead and give it a listen. Message me out. Message you right back. I love going back and forth with you folks about this football team. Also, leave me some feedback. I love hearing about what you folks think I do here on the Long Beach Joe Show. Okay? I truly appreciate it. I want to thank everybody that does that. Your boy's also on iTunes as well. Going over to iTunes, okay, type in The Long Beach Joe Show over there, okay? Subscribe to the podcast, okay? Subscribe to the podcast on there. Leave your boy a 5-star rating, okay? And let me know how you feel. Leave me some feedback over there as well. I want to thank y'all for doing that. It helps get the show out there. I appreciate all of you, okay? Man, I want to thank y'all for the feedback. It's truly amazing. I'm also on social media as well. Going over to Twitter, okay? Type in @TheLongBeachJoe, @TheLongBeachJoe on Twitter, okay? Follow your boy over there. Follow you right back. Let's go back and forth, talk about this football team. Some people talk about me. Some people talk to me about football, all right, on Twitter. Some people just hit your boy up to talk about life. I've been told I give great life advice. That's what I've been told by some Jets fans. Hey, I'm here for it all, okay? If you bleed green like I'm bleed green, I'm here for you, okay? I'm here for you, all right? Again, @TheLongBeachJoe on Twitter, okay? Personal page is @YoungJ000. And for those of you that may not know, okay, your boy is also live on YouTube, okay? We post content over there as well. Come on over to YouTube, type in Long Beach Joe Jets. Long Beach Joe Jets on YouTube, okay? Subscribe to the channel and hit that notification bell and press all so when I post content, you folks will be in the know, okay? We do live shows over here. Some people just stumble and fumble into it and they go, whoa, we didn't know you were over there. I go, yeah. We go live on YouTube, Long Beach Joe Jets. Come on over and check it out. And I want to thank all the ladies as well, showing me love, letting me know that they think that I'm handsome. They enjoy the show, but they think I look good. I want to thank you, ladies, okay? I appreciate it. I'm not an arrogant guy. You're beautiful. You think I'm beautiful. Thank you. I appreciate you. I appreciate those kind words, okay? So, again, Long Beach Joe Jets, YouTube, and always remember, when you come on over to the YouTube channel, okay, and you in those lives, be careful, okay? Because my chat, I call them the savages. You want to know why? Because they are savage. Listen, man, they don't care about me, you, or anyone else, okay? If they don't like what you bring into the table, they don't like what you're saying, they don't like your take, they're going to let you know about it, okay? Salute to all the savages in the chat. I see you, Outlaw, Jay. Jay's already going off. Salutes. He says, Joe, we need Zach out of here. Okay, listen. We're going to be discussing that, okay? We'll get to the lines as well. Again, 515-602-9639. I'm coming to the lines tonight. Trust, very quickly, all right? 732, new callers, I see you, okay? I think that's my guy Tim on the line. I see you. We'll be coming to Tim. We'll be coming to all the other callers and my new callers. I see y'all, okay? Just hold on, okay? Now we're going to get into it, all right? First, we're starting off Coach Ulbrich, our defensive coordinator, is now one of the head coaches in the Senior Bowl. He's actually going to be coaching the national team in the Senior Bowl, okay? He's also going to be working with other coaches in the league as well. The Giants offensive coordinator is going to be working with him as well on the national team, as well as Jones, the Vikings defensive coordinator, and Galano, the Saints special teams coordinator. Keep in mind, this is the Reese Senior Bowl. It's going to take place in Mobile, Alabama. And what's very interesting about this situation, right, is because, man, the Jets have been involved in this Senior Bowl before in 2022. Anybody remember? Ron Middleton, he was the national team's head coach. Anybody remember the speech that he gave? If it moves, hit it. If it hit it, like that was a very special motivational speech that he gave, and it was big, man. It definitely permeated with people around, that played football in the league, outside the league, whatever, right? That was just a great motivational speech that he gave before the players went out there. And one thing that we saw in 2022 as well was that, Sulla and Douglas were definitely out there talking to players, And in 2022, what it did for the New York Jets to have Ron Middleton, right, be the head coach of the national team, it allowed them to see those players up close and personal. And that's why I think that this is so pivotal for the New York Jets, right, in this upcoming draft. We know this upcoming draft is huge for the Jets. We all know that we need help along various positions, mainly offensive line. People have been talking about wide receiver. Some people talking about various other positions, right? We know that Joe Douglas has been heralded as a whiz in the draft, right? He's a guy that really covets the draft. He wants to make sure he gets closest and best to the next players. We all know he can work that board. Well, this allows them to get up close and personal with some of the guys who will be on that draft board, all right, which is big for the Jets. It allows you to ask these players all kinds of questions as well to get a good feel for them, okay? You can start asking guys about how they feel. Is your body good? You got any injuries? Any ankle injuries? Your back hurt at all? Just see what he gives up. You know what I'm saying? Just a little recognizance. That's all. That's huge. What about when you ask guys things like football questions? We saw that in 2022 as well, right? We saw them give concepts to guys that are very similar to concepts that they may run in their scheme, concepts from around the league, and see how quickly those guys can decipher those concepts and then execute them on the field. Now, why is that huge? I know people are looking around like, Joe, why does that matter? It matters because you want to figure out if this guy can pick things up quickly that you're going to be able to give him out there when he's going to play for you if you decide that you want to draft him. Can he figure things out within my scheme right now and execute them out there on the field, or is it going to take him 3, 4, 5 months or 2 years to figure this out? How quickly does he get up to speed and stuff? That's huge because in the NFL, things change lickety-split. And if you can't make an adjustment out there on the field because mentally you may be a little slow, you're still trying to figure things out, that could inhibit your success. That could also inhibit the team's success. So that's huge, to figure out how quickly a guy can figure things out and also how a guy learns as well. That opens the door to that too. That's a big question, okay? Lets them see your football IQ. We know that there's a lot of guys that have been physical specimens, right? I mean, physical specimens, but they ain't got it upstairs. Anybody remember Vernon Golston? Physical specimen, but he ain't have it upstairs. And it didn't work out here. He's one of the biggest busts the Jets have ever had. But, man, that pro day, he blew that out the water. but he just didn't have it upstairs. So that's huge as well. It gives you great insight to a guy that you're looking to draft. Also, it allows you to get closer to players to see what type of attitudes these players have. How dedicated are they to football? Do they love the game? Do they care? Are they showing up on time? Are they guys that you believe that could be fits for your locker room? What kind of guy is he? Is he just an angry, sully, moody guy? Or is he upbeat, ready to go, ready to learn, ready to take on and attack every single thing that you could possibly give him? What kind of person is he? This helps you learn this, right? That's huge. That's huge. Keep in mind, right, Ron Middleton, 2022, he was the Senior Bowl head coach. The Jets drafted 4 players, 4 in that draft that were in the Senior Bowl. One of them, Jermaine Johnson. Anybody remember him? That guy's been putting in work. Did big things for us last season. Been taking step after step after step, getting better and better and better every year. Jeremy Ruckert as well, our talented tight end. Him and Conklin have really been doing some things. Max Mitchell as well, a guy that's been able to come in and give us some quality snaps, backup offensive line spot, playing right tackle and so on. And also Michael Clemens. He was also in that Senior Bowl as well. So you can clearly see that the Jets covet being able to get close and personal with these players at the Senior Bowl. Also, you look at the Senior Bowl guys we have coming up, man, 2024, it's going to be big, especially if you look at the Jets' needs of offensive line. Fuaga from Oregon State, going to be there. Christian Jones from Texas, so is Jordan Morgan from Arizona. These are some guys that could fill out some spots there at tackle that we may need. So salutes to Jeff Ulbrich, and I can't wait, man. It's going to be a lot of hubbub around the Senior Bowl, and I can't wait to see the guys that are going to be out there and how they perform. Because I think we might see a bunch of those guys, or a couple of those guys from that Senior Bowl in Jets uniforms. Talking about the Jets backup quarterback options, man, let me tell you something. There's going to be options out there, okay? You look at the situation, man, the Jets have got to figure out this backup quarterback situation. We all know things fell apart. Aaron Rodgers went down 4 plays into the season against the Bills. Man, Tim Boyle, garbage. Oh, my goodness. He was terrible. He was terrible in preseason. We knew that, right? We got Zach Wilson out there. He showed some flashes here and there. That Chiefs game, he was phenomenal. Very up and down, though. Then again, we tried Tim Boyle. He was terrible. And honestly, Simeon wasn't much better. Right? So here we are back in this situation. All right? Now, keep in mind, the plan last season was to keep Zach Wilson in bubble wrap and to, kind of not allow him to play while Aaron Rodgers and backup would take place, but things didn't work out that way. All right? Now, if you look at the New York Jets this upcoming offseason, they've talked about needing to address the backup quarterback position. I think there's a couple guys that are going to be out there that the Jets must look to grab, okay? Over them quickly. Ryan Tannehill, for me, is the guy that the Jets must look at. We know that there's been rumors, even last offseason, about the New York Jets really liked Tannehill and wanted to bring him in. But we know that the Titans botched that. They shut that down last season, okay? There was a Titans staff member that literally got up on a podium during free agency and said, listen, I don't know what y'all talking about. Ryan Tannehill will be a Tennessee Titan, okay? He will be a Tennessee Titan. I don't care what anybody, I don't know what you heard or who you got your news from, but I'm here to tell you it's not happening. He will be in a Titans uniform, all right? But we're looking a little different this upcoming offseason. It's looking like Tannehill's going to be out there. So the New York Jets would definitely benefit by bringing him in backup duty. Gardner Minshew as well is another guy I think would be interesting. Of course, he's with the Colts currently. He's got us an effective QB. I would like to see him brought in, if the Jets can make that happen. Jacoby Brissett, another guy I think is very interesting. I really like Jacoby Brissett. Anybody remember? The Commanders almost beat us this season. Okay? The Commanders almost beat us. Those of y'all that don't know, all right? Howell was out there. Things weren't working. They brought in Jacoby Brissett, and then the Washington's offense lit up. All right, you 10 or 13 against us, 100 yards, got a touchdown, and we barely beat that team in Washington, okay? Our field goal kicker had to save us. Thank goodness for the lead. guy as well that could be out there, Tyrod Taylor. We know he's on the Giants. Let me tell you something. Faced Tyrod as well. That game that got spooky, he actually ended up getting knocked out with an injury too. But Tyrod is a consummate veteran, man. He's been in this league for a long time. We know he's been with a couple teams, the Bills, various other teams, right? And he's a guy that not only can get things done from the pocket, but he's also a guy that can move. And when you have a guy that has the athletic ability that he has, can move with his feet, that can extend drives running, that can move the chains running, he opens the boundaries of your offense. That is huge. Work here for the New York Jets, okay? So those are my backup options. Also, again, I just got a feeling, man. I got a feeling. I want to hear from the Savages in the chat. Again, callers will get to you in 1 second. Trust me. I got a feeling that Zach Wilson is going to be a New York Jet next season. Okay? I want you to open your ears when I'm talking. Don't DM me yet. Don't DM me yet, okay? Hold on just a second, folks. Hold on. Hold on, okay? Before you press that red X and just start DMing me, hold on, okay? I have a feeling that Zach Wilson will be here as a third-string quarterback, okay? That's what I have a feeling that he will be here as, okay? That's just my feeling. I don't know what it is. Just have a feeling that he's going to be here next season as a third-string quarterback, and I think it's because the Jets are going to try to run it back like they were trying to do this past season. I think they're going to have Zach Wilson here, and I think they're going to try to continue to have him grow and be groomed by Aaron Rodgers. Now, the caveat to this, I do think that this is dependent upon him finding a deal, an extension, right? Something like what the Packers did with Jordan Love, bring his cap number down a bit, and have him here to compete, possibly to be a starter down the road when Aaron Rodgers is said and done. When he's done and he wants to walk away, that's when I believe they'll give Zach Wilson a chance to take the helm. Now, with that being said, that does not mean that the New York Jets will not look to draft a young quarterback at some point to also compete with Zach Wilson. That's not out the window at all. I think the Jets will do that as well. Do think that Zach Wilson will be here, okay? And I think the reason why Zach would sign something like that and remain here is because Zach Wilson, right, when you look at the situation, the staff here is tied to him, Joe Douglas, Robert Saleh, through hell or high water. We want the best out of him, right? They've already come out and said that. Also, you got his childhood hero here. This entire franchise is invested in seeing him succeed to a level that, come on, is out the wazoo. They want him to be the starter. He doesn't have to be Aaron Rodgers. He's just got to be solid, okay? Just give us solid, and we'll take it. I don't think if Zach Wilson goes anywhere else, he'll get that type of love and comfort anywhere else. Because he's going to come in and just have to compete, and whatever happens, happens. But these people want him to succeed here. Aaron Rodgers himself came out and said that one of his responsibilities outside getting it done on the field for the Jets was to ensure that when he was done and he was going to move on from the New York Jets, that Zach Wilson would be ready to take the helm. He said that himself out of his own mouth. If Zach Wilson goes anywhere else, he doesn't get that type of love. Also, if he truly wants to be a starter at some point again in his career, I don't think there's any better place than here. Because at this point, right, let's say Aaron Rodgers plays another season or another 2 seasons. That gives Zach Wilson 3 years in this offense, unless they fire everybody, which I don't think is happening. That gives Zach Wilson 3 years, 3 functional years in an offense. He'd have a leg up on anyone else. Anyone else coming in here. He should know the offense through and through. Also, with your childhood hero in your ear, teaching you the ins and the outs and the nooks and the crannies of this offense, he wouldn't be able to go anywhere else and get the type of chance to possibly become a starter again and lead a franchise like he would get here. I don't think he would. So That's my take. I want to hear from the Savages. I know I'm already going to hear it from the Savages. Okay. Also, the New York Jets, our running back coach, Embry, he is out. He will not return for the New York Jets. So the New York Jets are interviewing Tony Dews, who used to be a Titans tight ends coach. He also was their running back coach as well. And there's also been talks constantly about Deuce Staley possibly becoming the New York Jets. The Jets have interest in him as well, bringing him in. The Jets throwbacks as well are now their permanent road jerseys, for those of you that do not know. All right, we're going to be looking spiffy on the road. I really like those throwback jerseys. All right, I'm not a big guy on, fashion on the field, but I'll tell you what, those jerseys look nice, okay? Sauce Gardner also made the PWFA all-team list, okay? And Sauce and Quinnen also made the all-AFC team for the Pro Football Writers of America. Joe Tippmann also was named to the all-rookie team, okay? So that's big achievements for them yet again, right? Sauce just continues to shine, man. This guy's done it all. He's a Pro Bowler. This guy's just phenomenal. It's only year 2, all right? We're going into year 3. He's a monster. And Quinnen Williams has continued to show and improve as well. Quinnen Williams is unbelievable. He's just unbelievable. I mean, that guy is just beasting, throwing people around, making plays. Joe Tippmann, another, successful Joe Douglas draft pick, right? He looked really good for us as well, showed some real promise, especially when he was there at center, all right? Also as well, Sauce Gardner came out today while we were talking about him, and he says, when asked about free agents on social media, free agents he thinks the Jets should look to sign, it was just kind of a general question thrown out there. He responded he wants to see the Jets sign T. Higgins and Calvin Ridley. I mean, this is something that a lot of Jets fans have been talking about all off season, and here we have one of our players discussing it. He wants to see those guys brought in. So we're going to talk about all of that, man. I got to get to these lines, okay? 515-602-9639. 515 is the number. Call in. I am taking all callers. We'll get to everybody, trust. Just be patient, okay? We had to get through that news, all right? We got to have these discussions. Please give the stream a thumbs up wherever you're watching me from, all right? Subscribe if you haven't subscribed already. Hit that notification bell so when I post content, you folks will be in the know, all right? You want to give to the platform, Super Chat is there. Cash App is at the bottom of the screen. Anything you give to the platform is greatly appreciated, okay? Salute to all the Savages in the building, man. All right? Outlaw Jay, I see you. Wild Wave. All right? Salute to Lil Balloon as well. Listen, man, put your thoughts, okay, in the chat. Any questions in the chat. I will come to you, okay? We're going to have that discussion. Keep in mind, I'm one man, okay? But I will come to you in between these callers, and we're going to have these discussions, okay? I know people definitely are on fire about my Zach Wilson take, man. Oh, man. I'm telling you, I believe it's going to happen, okay? I believe it's going to happen. So we're going to get to these lines again. 515-602-9639. 515-602-9639 is the number. Call in. First call I'm going to is my guy, Tim. We're going to Tim, man. Listen, for those of you that do not know, Tim, he is a savage. Tim, salutes. I want to thank you for calling in tonight, man. Listen, we're having this discussion, and I want to start off with you, man. We looking at our running backs situation right now. Our coach Embry is out the door. He's gone. Tony Dews is now interviewing. Deuce Staley has been talked about, man. What are your thoughts about this situation? And do you have a preference of a coach that you'd like to see brought in, or are you a guy that likes, Deuce Staley to possibly be the next New York Jets running backs coach?
Well, I'm not sure about the other two. By the way, hello, Joe. Good to talk to you. It's been a while. Yeah, I don't know about the credentials of the other coaches, but I know Deuce Staley is an ex-player, and he's had some success with that. I'm curious as to why they got rid of the running backs coach. I mean, I felt like Brees had a pretty good year. He probably could have had a better year, but I felt like a lot of that was, play design and games that we were, behind in. So, I'm not really sure what people think about the performance of the running back coach that just left, but I wouldn't mind seeing Deuce come in.
Yeah. Yeah, to me it's interesting, right? Because I remember there was a lot of talk about the New York Jets not making changes upon their staff, mainly, especially their offensive staff, because everybody and their mom wanted to see Nathaniel Hackett get fired. And he's still here, right? At least now, right? He's still here. I remember
the running back was just a sacrifice for, to keep, basically to keep Hackett on board? Like somebody had to pay type deal?
Yeah, I don't know, man, because I remember because I know that he was one of the guys kind of inherited by Nathaniel Hackett because Sulla, kept him on board. I don't know. Maybe he was. Because I know that recently there's been a lot of heat on Keith Carter. Honestly, especially the second half of the season, there was a lot of Jets fans that wanted to see him gone, and there was even players that came out and wanted to see him gone too. Mekhi Becton kind of agreed with some things that Taylor Lewan had said about not liking Keith Carter when he was on the past staff, and also even Brees Hall kind of made some comments on social media laughing about it, almost kind of agreeing with what Mekhi Becton was saying. So it's very interesting. I know a lot of people like Deuce Staley as well. Again, guy that, is with the Panthers. He was their running backs coach. But, Tony Deuce could be a solid guy to bring in here as well. Again, he was a tight ends coach there with the Titans for a bit. He's a running back coach. It's going to be very interesting to see how they fill that out. So we'll see. Again, whoever it is, they better be able to come in and continue, to help Brees Hall get better and better every season. That's all I want to see. And not just that, but also figure out how to really continue to open up the wealth of talent that Izzy Anavanakanda has, because that kid is explosive. He's explosive. And so I want to see somebody really unlock his potential as well. Speaking of coaching, we got Jeff Ulbrich. He's being the national team head coach there at the Senior Bowl, man. What are your thoughts about this Jets, a guy having, being here with the staff, players at the Senior Bowl? Do you think that this really helps the New York Jets with their evaluations in this upcoming NFL draft?
Yeah, of course. I mean, like you already mentioned, what I would say, which is you get a real chance to get some face time with these players. You get to really understand. I mean, we all know, it takes about 30 seconds to really see the passion in somebody's eyes, to really see if they're devoted and dedicated to the sport, especially if it's, in the Senior Bowl, it's all these guys who are kind of in the spotlight all year. People expect them to be higher draft picks. For me, it's more the lesser known guys that I think you can would make more impact in an interview from that perspective, because if you really get to know them, you can draft them and maybe they're not on everybody's radar because they didn't get the face time with these players. But these guys who, are nationally ranked essentially as the best players in college football, they've been seen, they've been interviewed, they've been talked to, but to have one of our guys directly there to meet them face to face and even, get some game time with these guys to see how they play, basically. You can tell right away a player with passion. Just think about Mike Clemens versus your average, mid-level defensive end, right? You would immediately see that there's a dog in him, you know what I mean? And it doesn't take long either, it just goes back to that first press conference he had, and everybody knew that he was going to be a monster. So, yeah, I think it's important that he gets out there. I think it's an honor that he was thought of to be that coach. It maybe would have been better served if Hackett could have been there, because I feel like we need a little bit more help on the offensive side of the ball at this point. But, what do you think? Do you think Ulrich is also scouting out the offensive guys, or do you think he's there primarily to look at defensive guys? And if so, what's your take on the Jets going after defensive players in the draft as opposed to offensive linemen?
Yeah, listen, Tim, those are great questions. For me, I don't think, of course, I don't think he's the only guy that's going to be there, because we've seen this in the past, where especially when Middleton was the national team head coach in 2022, we saw, Joe Douglas, and I think there was also pictures of Robert Saleh out there as well, kind of, intermingling with the players and chit-chatting and going back and forth. So I think there'll be other guys on the staff as well. They're going to be able to go to the Senior Bowl and kind of, talk to these players and kind of get up close and personal with them. I think they're going to be evaluating everyone there, everyone. But I think mainly, of course, when you look at the offensive side of the ball, I think they're going to be very heavily invested in looking at the offensive linemen. They're going to be there, particularly the tackles. To me, Talisi Fuaga from Oregon State is the guy, and I'm not going to stop talking about him, because he's a guy that could end up going in the top 10. He's a guy that honestly could be a New York Jet next season. He could. Him and Mims, to me, are guys that I think could end up being a Jet. Mims from Georgia. Of course, listen, I love Lathan. Love him too as well. I really like Joe Alt, of course. There's a couple other tackles too, but I think that Fuaga being there, Christian Jones being there from Texas, Jordan Morgan as well there from Texas, I think they're going to be evaluating all of those guys. And another thing that I really, really like that we've seen in the past is they get to put things into place, right? They get to give these guys, things that are kind of NFL concept plays and stuff like that, to see if they can figure them out and execute them. That's something huge too, that they talked about a lot in 2022 as being, a factor in them, coaching and dealing with a lot of players. And it really helps you to figure out how quickly a guy can pick things up and execute them. It really helps you figure out a guy's football IQ. And also not just that, but how a guy learns. That's a big thing in the league too. A lot of people think, oh, well, if you just, you play a slideshow or you put up some film, if he can't get that, no. Players learn differently. Some guys, you just have to go out there and do it, and then boom, they got it. They can go out there and just do whatever they need to do on the field. Some guys do learn by just film. Some guys do learn by just looking at the playbook, and they can memorize where they're supposed to be, and they can make it happen. So when you get that up close there with those players, I think is going to be big. As far as defensive players, it's going to be tough, man. If the Jets stay in the situation they have now as far as the current picks, it's tough for me to say that we'll go defense early. I don't think we will. I think the Jets will focus on the offensive side of the ball, particularly the offensive line, with the first couple of picks, unless we invest heavily in the offensive line in free agency, which is going to be very tough. Top offensive linemen, as we know, you got to pay up the wazoo for. And I think maybe the defensive stuff will probably be later on in the draft. What are your thoughts about that, man?
I mean, I'm O-line all day long. I mean, all day in the draft. Yeah. Get the young guys. Tippmann worked out really well. We can add to that. I mean, Douglas, a lot of people have been critical of him recently, I noticed. And if I would say, if he had any strength, I would say it was with drafting O-linemen. So I think that he might hit a little bit this draft. If he can get a couple good guys in there, think about what that does, right? I mean, we get Elijah Vera-Tucker back, even though he is constantly injured. I mean, if we get like 4 games out of him and then we have some younger guy behind him, then that's good stuff. You know what I mean? Like, you got to have depth, and you got to have guys that are working behind veterans in practice every day, picking up all the little, idiosyncrasies that come with the game and picking up skills and learning the game. I mean, those are the guys that you see in their, first, second, maybe third year start to emerge as Pro Bowlers. And so I think it's extremely important that we get that for so many reasons. I mean, Aaron Rodgers, Breece Hall. I mean, Breece Hall could have, 1,700-yard season if we had a solid offensive line. I mean, straight up.
Facts. Facts.
And he would have an even better season if Aaron Rodgers can stay healthy, because I anticipate in games where they're having some difficulty on offense, a lot of, unique or creative sort of screen plays or dump offs over the middle, like on a short route, 5 yards to Breece Hall, and then just let him get the yak. You know what I'm saying? So if we can get a little bit of offense in the passing game, which is a direct result of having a good offensive line, I think Brees could just have an amazing season, and I want to see that so bad. Like, you know what I mean? I'm so tired of getting special players in the New York Jets facilities and not seeing their true potential. I mean, when was the last time we saw, like, Garrett Wilson's a great example. Like, let's not waste the talent for once, you know? Like, these guys could be at the top of the league. They could be premier, top 5 players in the league, and we just got to make it happen. I really don't understand why I don't know if there's some kind of difficulties behind closed doors. Like, I just don't understand why they can't. Think about it this way, right? If they're having a bad season, Aaron Rodgers goes down, couple of offensive linemen go down, you have some serious questions on offense, play calling, you're not really sure what's going on. Why is Brees Hall not touching the ball like 35, 40 times a game? I mean, I know that's an exaggeration, but still, I mean, what do you have to lose? What do you have to lose? I mean, you're not going to win the division. You're not going to win the Super Bowl. Like, just let's see what the potential is. Push the boundaries. Push the limits. Like, if you have turnovers, big deal. Big deal. Let's see what they can do.
And this is go ahead. Yeah, listen, and I'm right there with you. I look at it like there's a lot of Jets fans that want to get rid of guys along the offensive line. You talked about ATV, and I love ATV, but he has been injured the last 2 seasons with big injuries and missed quite a bit of time. But everybody wants Becton gone. That's a hole at left tackle, right? Everybody wants to get rid of our left guard, Tomlinson. Okay, there's a hole there, and you got a hole at right tackle. And then also, as you brought up as well, you got to look at somebody to possibly be ready to suit up and step in if ATV goes down this season. Keep in mind, there's Super Bowl expectations next year. Okay? I know Jets fans don't like when I bring that up because they just like to say things but I'm the guy, I keep my, I remember things. And there are Super Bowl expectations next year. Everybody knows that, just like there was this year before Aaron Rodgers went down. So if you can't protect Aaron Rodgers and keep him upright, good luck at the Super Bowl, okay? Good luck at that. Also, as you brought up as well, we are a ground and pound team. That's our identity. We run the football, okay? When we're at our best is when we're running the rock. When we're at our best offensively this year is when Brees Hall was running the rock. You have to be able to open up holes for them. So the offensive line or drafting offensive line is going to be vital for the New York Jets. It's going to be vital this upcoming draft, and we must make sure that we get that done and get the guys in here that are going to be fully prepared and ready and are going to be up to the task of succeeding with the expectations that are going to be put on them. Okay, so, I mean, you hit the nail right on the head there, Tim. Now, my next question for you, backup quarterback
position. Can I just say one more
thing,
Joe? Can I just say one more thing real quick on that?
Go ahead.
So,
go ahead.
Personally, I think we should keep Becton. I really do.
Talk about it.
I mean, look, when he has a good game, the stuff he puts on tape, rivals the best left tackles in the league, straight up. Mm-hmm. I mean, he just crushed. He's a special talent. I don't understand I don't get people like why let him go? I don't understand. I don't get that. I mean, let's keep the guy. Get a couple new guys. And here's the other thing too, Joe. You got to consider, right? Like there were Super Bowl expectations going into this past season, and somebody in the organization looked at that offensive line and said to themselves, "We just have to add Pittman, and we're good." So, and to me, that was a fundamental mistake. Like how do you not pad that as much as you possibly can with skill guys just in case? You got Aaron Rodgers, Super Bowl expectations. What do we, so that doesn't give me, I guess what I'm saying is it doesn't give me a lot of confidence that, and maybe this past season will be the lesson learned, but going into last season, how is somebody not saying we need to get 2-3 other really strong guys on the offensive line just in case? And nobody did it. Everybody was counting on AVT coming back. Everybody was counting on Latham Tomlinson coming back. And it didn't work out.
You know where I think it fell apart, Tim? You know where I think it fell apart? And you bring up a marvelous point. I talked about this all off season. When I told you I literally was told to shut the hell up by multiple Jets fans. I was telling people Dwayne Brown is not who y'all think he is. I said that all off season. Dwayne Brown is not the guy we should be depending on. Joe, don't worry about it. He's a veteran. He'll be able to come back. I was like, listen, he was hurt last year, and even when he played, he wasn't that great. He was on the line that got Mike White killed. Nobody wanted to hear it. And then they handed him that left tackle position. And when he wasn't able to get it together after not practicing with the offensive line and being put into a new offensive scheme with Mike LaFleur moving on and us bringing in, Nathaniel Hackett, we saw the struggle. And not only that, I also, because you were talking about ATV missing time, anybody remember when everybody was like, ATV's versatility is going to be huge for us because if something happens, we can just move ATV out the tackle. Well,
exactly.
If ATV is on IR, then who's going to play guard or tackle, right? So all of those things, I think, bit us in our keister, and I think that Joe Douglas is going to do work. But my thing, and this is one thing I want to say about the draft as well before I ask you the next question, is that I think that this upcoming draft, Joe Douglas is going to be more willing to utilize capital. I just have a feeling he's going to be more willing to utilize capital from future drafts because with the Super Bowl expectations for this upcoming season, he has to get the closest to the surest thing because the guys that we're going to be drafting in this upcoming draft at the offensive line, they're going to have to be prepared to go up against Philly, to go up against Kansas City, to go up against all these teams with these top pass rushers, right? Because that's the road to a Super Bowl. We're seeing it right now during the playoffs. These guys, these edge rushers, they're getting around the bend, okay? And they're coming to kill you. Trust. They're coming to take your head off. Ask all the guys that have been chasing around Patrick Mahomes these last couple weeks, all right? So those guys are going to have to be ready to face these top-tier pass rushers. So you better get guys that are up to snuff and ready to go year one. So it's going to be interesting to see. I think we could possibly see the New York Jets trading back into the first to grab a guy if need be. Especially, again, with free agency, we'll see if they bring Becton back. I'm with you on that. I could see a 2-year deal for Becton and, trying to see. Because, again, I thought he was solid until he got that high ankle sprain. Once he got that high ankle sprain was when the movement was affected and we saw things. But I could see them bringing Becton back. With us talking about that, and I love the points that you bring up, I want to start talking to you about this backup quarterback position because I've gotten some, I've taken some shots for another take, and we'll get to that. But when you look at the options there at backup quarterback between Tannehill, Gardner Minshew, Jacoby Brissett, Tyrod Taylor, or even Tyler Huntley, what is the guy that you like the most, man? Who do you want to see be the New York Jets backup quarterback, and why?
I mean, there's two things I consider, like resiliency, right? I mean, I think if you're talking resiliency in terms of somebody that could come in case something happens and take a few big hits and still play, I would look at like Tannehill or Gardner Minshew. But if we're talking about a versatile backup, I really like Tyrod Taylor, to be honest with you. I would say I know he's not probably even on a lot of people's radar, even their favorite. But I like what I see from him. I've always liked the way he played. I always felt like he was able to make plays where no plays existed, which is something that a lot of backups tend to have to do because they come off the bench and, they're not necessarily in rhythm in the first, maybe 2-3 drives. So they have to, ease into it. And if he can create a little bit of space and make those plays happen immediately, then I think that's going to be beneficial. But from like I said, from a resilience standpoint, I would say the best candidate would be Tannehill.
Yeah, I'm telling you, there's been a lot of rumors circulating about the Jets having interest in bringing in Ryan Tannehill, and even going back to this, past offseason. Before the deal was closed with Aaron Rodgers, there was a lot of talk that the New York Jets were heavily invested in going after Ryan Tannehill. That rumor is swirling. I remember it like it was yesterday. And everybody was like, oh, my God, is Ryan Tannehill going to be the Jets starting quarterback? And this was before, the steam really picked up on Aaron Rodgers being here. But I'll tell you what, man, Ryan Tannehill would be a great idea for the Jets to bring in as well. And I like Tyrod Taylor too. He's a guy that's really high on my list, not just because of, like you said as well, what he's been able to do, and we've seen that he's a guy that can come in and really hold the fort. He's a giant starter at one point. Mm-hmm. Listen, his ability to move, the running ability, still there. He can extend plays with his feet, man. There's so many things that you could draw up. So many. All kind of RPOs and QB keepers, all kind of things that really expand your offense, and I really like the idea of him. Now, as we continue to speak about this quarterback position, Tim, I got a feeling, man, that Zach Wilson
real quick, Joe, real quick.
Go ahead.
Let me just throw in two things about Tannehill and Tyrod. So two things that I think about, too, is that they both played in the AFC East before as well.
Mm-hmm.
Tyrod was on the Bills. Yep. Tannehill was on the Dolphins. So they have some familiarity with the division. And the other thing about that as well is that if you look at Tyrod when he was on the Bills, they have a solid run offense on the Bills. And Tannehill was with what's his face down there, the running back. Why is his name slipping my mind?
Gore was down there.
No, the running back on the Titans. Big dude. Why can't I think of his name? Oh, my God. Anyway, the running back on the Titans who, their running game was awesome. Their offensive line was awesome. So, he, if he comes here, maybe he can use some of that experience to help increase Breece Hall's productivity as well. I guess that's what I'm trying to say.
I think you're talking about Henry.
Yes,
with the Titans,
King
Henry.
King Henry.
Yeah. That's all you guys like. That guy's a violent runner. King Henry will destroy you. Okay, that's a great point there. Now, as we continue to talk about this quarterback position, man, I got a feeling that Zach Wilson's going to be here next year, Tim. I feel like the New York Jets are going to try to do the experiment that they were trying this past season, where he's going to be the third string. They're going to bring in a quality backup, but they're going to continue to groom this guy behind Aaron Rodgers and try to give him a chance at some point to compete to be a starter again, or, be a starter again here with the New York Jets. What are your thoughts on that? Do you think that I am a nut job?
No, not at all. I've always liked Zach. I'm not a hater of Zach Wilson. I think he showed a lot of, and I'm sure I'm going to get ripped apart for this, but I think he showed a lot of great qualities as a quarterback, right?
Welcome to the club,
We've seen him start immature, right, Joe? Like, we've seen him start as an immature, fresh draft pick, made some embarrassing mistakes. He learned from them. Yep. I've seen his demeanor change. I mean, it's clearly changed. I mean, just the way he speaks, the leadership qualities that he's grown into. And one thing I've always liked about Zach is that he throws a wicked ball. I mean, when he has time to set his feet and he has an open receiver, man, that thing is on a wire. I mean, he throws a great looking football, and he can throw it deep, he can throw it short. He's a great passer. I mean, as long as he has the room. Did he make some mistakes? Sure, man. He's a 22-year-old kid. Like, let's give him a break. Let's give him some time to develop. He's been kind of pushed in and out of the games because of all the injuries and all the, drastic events that have gone on with the Jets these past couple seasons. And I don't think he was ever truly, really there. He might have been ready for. And I'll put it this way: he was prepared for what they could teach him, but they had to teach him a dumbed down offensive scheme because it was just too much. And that's why they brought Aaron Rodgers in, because he's one of these people who he's been doing it for so long that it's just second nature to him. It's muscle memory to identify all his defenses, change things, throw it here, throw it there. Zach Wilson's young. He has the physical qualities. And I really do think it would be beneficial to keep him as a third string, so he could watch Aaron Rodgers in hopefully a full season, and I think that'll be so beneficial for him. And I think he'll just elevate his game as a result. So I'm not ready to give up on him. I like what he can do from a physical talent perspective, and he just needs some time behind somebody like Aaron Rodgers to really see, that type of quarterback brain in action. And I think once he sees that, it's naturally going to rub off. I really do.
Yeah. Yeah. It's going to be interesting. Like I said, I'm not saying it's going to happen for certain. I don't know. I just got a feeling. That Zach Wilson is going to be here. Now, with that being said, man, we know that Sauce Gardner has thrown some names out there that he would like to see become New York Jets. And it's going to be my final question for you, Tim. Sauce Gardner says that he would like to see T. Higgins and Calvin Ridley become New York Jets next season. What are your thoughts about that, man?
Ooh, I didn't actually see that, but now that let me think about that for a minute. Calvin Ridley, where's Calvin Ridley now? Because I know he was on the Falcons for a while.
Yeah, he was on the Falcons. I don't know where he is now. I think he's coming back. I think he's come off that suspension. But definitely two wide receivers that could be added. We know that T. He's going to be a free agent this year from the Bengals, and he put it all on the line as they ended the season. Yeah, and what's crazy is the question actually that he was asked was what underrated guy would he like to see, and he named T. Higgins and Calvin Ridley, which T. Higgins has been talked about constantly by Jets fans, but definitely looking to help bolster this wide receiver position. I mean, I would like those signings. I don't know if that happened, except for T. Higgins, who is going to command, I think, quite a bit of money in free agency. But what are your thoughts on that, Tim? Do you think we'll be able to grab one or both of those guys?
I don't know about both, but if I had to choose one, I would definitely go T. Higgins because he has the size as well. And I think, I don't know if I was talking to you about it, but we need like a big body receiver, like A.J. Brown or something like that. Like we need a big body guy that can go down and command some respect. You know what I mean? And like take some heat off of Garrett Wilson. I mean, think about that. If we had Garrett Wilson and T. Higgins and Aaron Rodgers and Breece Hall and, maybe find some, maybe not Calvin Ridley if we can't get him and T. Higgins, but I'm confident that we could find somebody better than Allen Lazard and Randall Cobb.
And what's crazy
for that third receiver mode.
What's crazy is that guy, the big body wide receiver that's supposed to help Garrett Wilson out, that's supposed to open things up and command respect, that was supposed to be Allen Lazard. That's why we paid him $44 million. That's why the Jets, but here we are, looking for him. And I'm hoping next season that he's going to improve and get back to the Allen Lazard that I thought we were getting because Aaron Rodgers said that he's going to lean into him, and help him. I hope he's ready to go next season because if not, like Sulla said, he's got a year and a half left and he's going to be out of here. Right, Tim?
I mean, T. Higgins would be a great addition because the thing about T. Higgins is that he's proven it on the field. He may not have gotten as many looks because of Jamar Chase, but he's proven it. You know what I mean? When he's gotten opportunities, he's caught the ball and he's scored touchdowns and he's, knocking people over with stiff arms and he's getting open and he's going up and grabbing the ball. So, he's put down the work on tape that you can see, like he can fill that role, right? Like there's no question marks. Like I think when we bought Allen Lazard over, outside of Aaron Rodgers' endorsement, I had a lot of question marks. Like is this guy going to be able to do it? You know what I mean? Like yes, he did it with Aaron Rodgers. But that's because Aaron Rodgers can put it in anybody's hands. It's not necessarily Allen Lazard that did it. I thought that
Allen Lazard was going to be much better than he was, and I'm hoping that he can get things together. Maybe this is the frustration of the season or whatever it was, but he's got to step up because he was awful. Before I let you go, Tim, give me 3 things that would attract free agents to the New York Jets. What are 3 things that if you were an NFL free agent would make you go, the Jets are a team that I'd be interested in?
I would say the facilities, number one. the Jets have a top-of-the-line facility in Florham Park. I mean, it's probably one of the nicest ones in the league. The second one would be, yeah, that's a tough question, Joe, because coming off last season, it's going to be hard. I mean, they're going to have to push the Aaron Rodgers factor big time in free agent to get free agents.
That's number two. Go ahead. Let's go. That's number two, yeah.
And then, let's see, the third one would have to be, because, Hackett's not selling anybody, so the third one would have to be,
let me help you out, Tim.
That's a tough one. Yeah, help me out.
I'm going to help you out. The opportunity to be beloved, right? When you look at here in New York, and we'll get to the callers in a second. Val, you're going to be next. When you look at the opportunity here in New York, if you win here, you will be beloved like none other. If you bring a Super Bowl to the New York Jets, you will never have to buy another sandwich, another beverage, another nothing when you're walking down the street. You will have, literally, the world will open up for you, not only from the fan base. We'll love you forever. Listen, there will never be anything negative that anyone will ever be able to say about Darrelle Revis, because this fan base, this Jets fan base, will come to his aid immediately because he's one of our greats. Even though he did things and went to other teams, he's still beloved here. But if you win here, if you come here and put it on the line, your opportunities outside of football open up tremendously. We're talking about movies. We're talking about TV. We're talking about media. Anything that you want is yours. Rex Ryan,
sitcoms.
He's on that. Yeah, he's on that big
Joe,
network.
What are your other
all these
two?
Guys getting money. Go ahead. Say it again.
What are your other two besides being opportunity to be loved?
Well, one is Aaron Rodgers, right?
Mm-hmm.
Anywhere he is, just like Tom Brady, you have an opportunity to win a Super Bowl. You have an opportunity to be around greatness. You have an opportunity to do everything that you want to do, right? Especially if you're an offensive guy and wide receiver. Come on, Aaron Rodgers, said and done, right? The second is the opportunity to be beloved. And for me, the third is to be part of changing the vision of the franchise, right? You'll be the first to do it. If you win, I mean, of course, it won't be our first Super Bowl. We won one in the 60s. But you will be like one of the guys. You have an opportunity to come here and truly put your name in the rafters, be one of the greats, and to be coached. I think that Sulla is also a selling point as well. I think he's a great coach. I do. I know. But he is beloved around the league. Players love him. So I think that is also a selling point, too, is Sulla.
I would say the defense, too, is a selling point.
Yeah, the defense, too, yeah.
A lot of guys, I mean, even offensive guys that come here, it's kind of nice to have in your back pocket that you have an amazing defense if you're an offensive guy, because that means you're probably get more opportunities. Maybe there's a little less pressure on you because the defense is good. And going into the playoffs, you have one of the best defenses in the league, and defense wins championships. So it's a good way to do it, too.
Listen, Tim, it was phenomenal to speak with you, man. You always bring great takes. I got other callers. I got to slide off. Next time I have a show, I want to hear from you, all right?
Absolutely. Good talking to you, Joe. Have a good night.
All right, you have a good one. Man, we're going to keep getting to these calls. Again, 515-602-9639. 515-602-9639 is the number. Call in. I'm taking all callers. Val, you'll be next. I'll see you. Val going to come in. He's going to bring us some hot takes, but I got to get to the Savages really quickly in the chat. Salutes to Hawkeye Digger. I see you, Savage. He says, what can we really get for Wilson? I mean, Zach Wilson. I'd rather keep him than get a 7th rounder. Yeah? I mean, at this point, I don't know exactly what you can get. I know there was talks we're going to trade Zach Wilson. There's always been talks we're going to trade Zach Wilson, but it has not happened. It didn't happen then. There were rumors coming out that the Jets told him they were going to trade him, which, I'm not disrespecting anybody. But I don't know. I don't know how true that was. I'm just going to say that. I don't know how true that was, right? So, we'll see. But again, I got a feeling. Jay salutes to Jay in the chat. Jay says Brissett, he did good when he was with the Browns, and he lit our defense up last year. Jay said he wants to see Jacoby Brissett be brought in as a backup quarterback here with the New York Jets. So that's interesting, man. I'm telling you, he's a guy. GVH salutes to you in the chat. Another Savage. He says, Tyrod only gets hurt versus us, so maybe this will be his year to be healthy. He'd be a great option here. Dakota salutes to you. Dakota says, Rodgers, he's looking at the quarterback position here with the New York Jets. He said he wants Rodgers to clearly be his starter. He wants Jacoby Brissett to be his number 2. And he says his number 3, he wants to see us draft a long-term QB. We'll see. We will see, okay? Sean Bennett salutes to you as well. Sean Bennett says the end zone was Zach's kryptonite. Oh, man. William Jones, another Savage in the chat, says, I love how no one ever thinks why Zach would even want to stay. It's like when people ask why Joe doesn't get X, Y, and Z player. He tried, but the players don't want to come here. I brought up a couple of reasons why I think Zach would stay. And I think that Zach would stay because, what's the worst that can happen? Everything that's bad has already happened. He's been benched, right? He's been deactivated before. We've also seen him rise from the ashes, right, after, a tough game and come out and play outstanding against the Chiefs. He was supported by the league when people were bashing him. There were players around the league saying, that's enough. He's talented, but he just got to be more consistent, right? We've seen him put things together, right? And we've also, seen him come out and understand that New York is a tough place, but he's going to be able to stand up in it and put, chin up, chest out, and be able to take the brunt of what's happening. Even things that were not his fault at times this season, he took the brunt of it for, even if it wasn't his fault. Even when people would talk crazy about him, he never got up on the podium and talked about how, don't talk. He just said, I got to be better. I got to be better, So I think, again, if Zach wants to be a starter somewhere, I don't think a team outside of New York Jets gives him a better option to become a starter at some point. I don't think he has a better option out there, especially, again, with how invested this team is in seeing him succeed. I think that could be great, especially Aaron Rodgers being here, okay? Salute to all the Savages. We'll come back to y'all in a second. Okay, I'm one man. Keep putting your questions, your comments in the chat. We'll get to you. Trust. All right, but I got to get back to these lines. 515-602-9639. 515-602-9639 is the number. Call in. I am taking all callers. Please be patient. Next, we're going to Val. Val, I'm coming directly to you. All right. Val is on the line. For those of you that do not know Val, he's a savage. Damn. Val is on the line. Trust you, me. The shenanigans are afoot, okay? Salutes, Val. Good to hear from you. Man, I'm going back and forth with a lot of people. I want to start with the backup quarterback situation with you, man. We talked about Ryan Tannehill, Tyrod Taylor, Huntley. There's so many names out there. Even Gardner Minshew. Who is the guy that you want to see become the New York Jets backup quarterback?
Oh, man. Listen, salute, Joe. Nice talking to you, man. Salute to the Savages.
Here we go.
Woo! Man, we heard a lot of great on that last call, man. I'm just saying, but I don't see it. But anyway, let's see. Who do I want as the backup quarterback? I would say Jacoby Brissett is number one for sure. He showed us he was just about, as soon as he got on the field against us in Washington, they was just down 3 points, and then he came back all the way to 27 points. So he definitely could show you that, he definitely battled, and he definitely battled with us in the I would say the Browns game 2 years ago, with Joe Flacco and Garrett Wilson going off on that overtime. So yeah, he definitely showed a lot. So I would definitely like Jacoby Brissett. That's number one. Number two, Tannehill. Even though he has turnover problems as well too, but he has that veteran presence, and I feel like he will fit the scheme as well too. Tyrod Taylor is number three. Tyrod Taylor for sure. He showed you that he's definitely a veteran that could step in. He's the total opposite of a pocket passer. He could run the ball with needed and stuff like that. Injury prone a little bit as well too. He does take some hits that, you know, could knock him out the game, as you've seen against the Jets versus the Giants. Gardner Mitchell, that's another person. Almost made it to the postseason. Definitely is a fighter. Definitely could be consistent at times. At times, you know, he does have messes up a few times as well too, but definitely is a veteran for sure. He could come in and be a game changer as well too. So I would say Jacoby Brissett number 1. I would say Tannehill number 2, Tyrod Taylor number 3, and go on from there. You know, for sure. Yeah. That are absolutely competition for a backup quarterback. Not no Tim Boyle. We don't want that. We want an actual backup, a veteran backup. Oh man.
Okay, listen, and I'm right there with you. And to move on to my next take, okay, because I have been going back and forth and just wrestling with so many Jets fans when I say this. Val, I have a feeling that Zach Wilson will be back with the New York Jets next year. Not as a starter, not as the number 2, but as the number 3. I feel like what the Jets are going to try to do is try to remake what they were trying to do this past season, which is put Zach Wilson in bubble wrap, have him sit on that bench and learn from Aaron Rodgers. And then when Aaron Rodgers is gone in 2 years, maybe, or a year or 2 years, whatever, then Zach Wilson could possibly have the chance. Now, the caveat for this is that I think the Jets are going to offer him an extension, kind of like what the Packers did with Love, to bring his cap number down and then allow him to be here, you know, for those couple years until Aaron Rodgers decides to move on. What are your thoughts on my take there? Do you think I'm crazy?
Listen, from what we've just seen from the bubble wrap that he was supposed to be on this season, and he just happily just unwrapped it real quickly because we didn't wrap it up enough. I mean, listen, after what Mike White has done last season, outplaying him, other quarterbacks outplaying him, he just unwraps it again. Listen, anything is possible from what I've seen from this organization so far. So you're not crazy, man. I mean, if he's back, I wouldn't be surprised, man. Like, I just feel like, me personally, we should definitely cut ties and move on. $20 million that could go to a offensive line right there, and just bring in a veteran backup as well too. But yeah, just to answer your question, you're definitely not crazy, man. Because I think, you know, from what I'm seeing, that they have to be tied down to Zach Wilson, because, you know, this is their last go around. If things doesn't go right, then, you know, Joe Douglas could possibly go on, and also Robert Saleh could possibly go on as well too, because this is all their last, you know, years on their contract. So, you know, they got to go all out this year. So, you know, make a break.
I mean, I look at it like this. You know, it's going to be tough. Unless Aaron Rodgers gets hurt again, which, knock on wood, I hope he doesn't. If we protect him properly. I think the New York Jets are at least set up to make the playoffs this upcoming season. And if they do that, they're definitely not going to fire Robert Saleh or Joe Douglas, right? I think even if the New York Jets just see marked improvement, even if they miss the playoffs and they're a game out, I don't think they'll fire them either. I'm going on record saying that. I don't think if the Jets miss the playoffs and they're a game out, or maybe 2 games out, they're not going to fire them. I don't think Woody Johnson's going to fire him. As long as Aaron Rodgers is willing to give it a go with the New York Jets and there's marked improvement from what we saw last season, Woody Johnson is going to keep those guys around. Because, one, of course, you know, there's a chance for the Jets to win it all. But honestly, there's a chance to sell jerseys and tickets as long as you have Aaron Rodgers in a Jets uniform, and I don't think Woody Johnson is going to want to give that up, and we all know that, okay? There's nothing Woody and Chris like more than money, okay? Nothing more, all right? So that's just my take. But again, I just got a feeling that Zach Wilson's going to be here. I just got a feeling. I don't know what it is. But as we continue to talk about this team, yes, go ahead, Val. Go ahead, Val.
Oh, no, I'm just like, man, Joe, listen, this team, I'm sorry, man. I'm watching all these playoff games, man. I'm like, our defense is way better than the Steelers' defense. Our defense is way better than this defense. This team shouldn't even be on the couch right now. That's how, ticked off I am right now, because the offense, if had the offense balanced out the defense energy, we would be in the playoffs right now. I can't even lie to you, man. Like, even the Steelers, of how bad of this season that they had their secondary, their third-dairy backup quarterbacks. They at least made the postseason. And that just goes to show you how the coaching staff is not that good to me, man. Like, if we're trying to really make a Super Bowl, I mean, I have to see it for myself, man. But, go on. Yeah.
Well, I'll tell you what. And I'm just being honest, and I love going back and forth, especially with you, Val, but other Jets fans. As long as Aaron Rodgers is here and you're in win now mode,
that's true.
The chances that you make massive changes to your coaching staff or stuff, it's not likely, especially with Aaron Rodgers here. And I've warned people. Nobody wants to listen to me. Aaron Rodgers wields so much power within this organization. It is crazy.
Sure does.
It's crazy,
This is why I wanted Lamar Jackson, because I knew this was going to happen. And I knew the window was so tight that we couldn't make any type of moves, or we couldn't move any type of, like, if we had a bad offensive coordinator, which we do, Nathaniel Hackett, this is exactly what I was fearing that what was going to happen, because we wouldn't have to worry about this with Derek Carr or Lamar Jackson. That's why I had Aaron Rodgers at number 3, which people thought I was crazy for putting Aaron Rodgers above, Derek Carr, but I knew this was going to happen. But, I just hope everything works out for the best at the end of the day, because just like how you say, he is the best quarterback that we possibly ever had, but he has to show it. He has to show it, though. Yeah. We have to see it on the field.
I'll go on record as saying he's the best, not just quarterback, best player the New York Jets have ever had in our franchise history. Best player, period.
Wow.
I'll go on record saying that, because you want to know why?
He has to
let me tell you why.
On the Jets uniform.
He does, but let me tell you why. It's because he's a quarterback. He plays the most important position in football, period. We can literally win or lose a game because of him. Solely.
Absolutely.
Solely. We can win or lose games because of him. The quarterback position is the most coveted position in all of football. And he is like, dude, he's Aaron Rodgers. Let's be serious.
Yep.
Okay? And I know people don't like to hear that, but I'm here to tell you things that you may not like to hear. So he's got to deliver, but we've got to keep him upright, and we must keep him protected. And that's where I want to go next, man.
Yes,
because there's a lot of talk about, a lot of things moving and shaking, right? You got Jeff Ulbrich at the Senior Bowl. I'm thinking he's going to be definitely taking looks and keeping eyes on a lot of these offensive line prospects that are at the Senior Bowl. What are your thoughts about Jeff Ulbrich, right, being at the Senior Bowl and being the head coach of the national teams? And how do you think that affects the New York Jets being able to evaluate players in this upcoming draft?
Oh, this is definitely a good advantage for you to actually look at the young talent that is coming into the league. And that's how we got a Will McDonald, because we didn't even know who he was. And then when we seen him in preseason, we seen the flashes. We like, whoa, this man could be possibly a Dwight Freeman or something like that. So obviously they know exactly when it. Dwight Freeman, Dwight Freeman. And everything that I've seen, I'm just like, man, you could definitely take advantage of it. You could definitely get those sleepers. You could have conversations with some of these players before they even touch the draft or touch that stage and stuff like that, so you could know who to pick out and who not. So I'm definitely going to think like he's going to look at the offensive line, because obviously we're good on defensive line as well too. We're overpacked with that. So he could see who's the the right pieces to get, or take some notes on and bring it back to the organization to scouted out and stuff like that to see if they're really legit of what their their prospect is and stuff like that. So it's a very great advantage. What I would say.
Yeah.
And he deserves
it's a wonderful advantage.
Yeah,
it's a wonderful advantage for us. And like I said as well, we drafted when Ron Middleton was a coach at the Senior Bowl in 2022. We took 4 players that were in that Senior Bowl. That says something, right? That says something.
Right.
Jermaine Johnson was one of those guys. When you can get up close and personal with a player and really start to learn them and hear it straight from the horse's mouth about what they're about, and you see their habits, you see what they do, you see, how they learn, you can give them stuff to figure out how quickly they can learn and execute things. That goes a long way. That's different than just sitting down in a room and watching pro days. And I'm telling you, I could see us taking people. And Talisi from Oregon State, I'm going to keep talking about him. He could end up being a New York Jet. That tackle from Oregon State could end up being here. Let me tell you something.
He's really that good, Joe?
With it. Bruh, he is really good. Him and Mims. I'm telling you, a lot of people aren't talking about that kid, Mims from Georgia. They're not talking about him enough, I personally think. Now, again, I'm going to be very clear to everybody, okay? Listen, Fashanu, phenomenal, okay? Fashanu from Penn State, phenomenal. Alt from Notre Dame, phenomenal, right? Latham, phenomenal. Like, there's some really good players.
That's a lot of names. I'm liking that.
But Fuaga.
You got a lot of options.
Yes, but Fuaga is a guy that I think is going to be there at 10. I think he could be there. I think that Alt is probably going to go earlier than 10. I think that Latham possibly could be there at 10. But I think Fuaga is a guy that definitely could be in our scope, right? And he's really good. That's all I'm saying. He's really good. He's a guy that can get it done, too.
Yeah, because I was hearing some content creators, man, and they were saying that, if this tight end, because they were saying that there's this best tight end that ever
Good Lord.
Yeah, they're saying that if there's no,
you don't
get the tackle
Bowers.
that he's looking for. You're
talking about Brock Bowers.
Because I don't really.
Listen.
Brock Bowers. Okay.
Go ahead.
Yeah, they're saying that if he's at 10, they would absolutely take him and stuff like that. So I was just like, listen, I want an offensive line. How do you feel about that?
If you care about Aaron Rodgers, you better not. If you care about Aaron Rodgers and winning the Super Bowl, and you're under the pressure that this New York Jets coaching staff and general manager is under right now, okay? And we all know, I'm a Jets fan just like you're a Jets fan, Val. You see it on social media. Jets fans expect a Super Bowl. If you draft a damn tight end at 10 and the New York Jets don't do something significant, you can get ready to get fired. Okay? You can get ready to get fired. The second that you are out of playoff contention, just start packing your stuff. Okay? Start packing your stuff. Make your calls. Make sure you schedule your U-Haul van to come on and pick your stuff up from your crib. Go ahead and, start looking on, all those places, apartment searching, back to wherever you want to go, because your keister is out of here. You are out of here. You're gone. We don't have.
Yeah, because they're comparing him to Mark.
We are in win-now mode. Yeah, we are in win-now mode.
I totally agree with you. Totally agree.
Win now means you don't have the luxury of doing something that is not going to significantly help you to win now. We have Jeremy Ruckert. What did you draft him for if you're going to take a tight end at 10? We have Conklin. What are you drafting? We don't even utilize those guys enough. What the hell are you going to draft a tight end at 10 for? We don't even utilize those guys enough.
You sure don't.
If you don't go get a tackle, if you don't go get a damn tackle so that Aaron Rodgers' Achilles doesn't explode next season before he can do anything, be prepared to be gone. Be prepared to be gone. You better not take a tight end. You better not. Give me your. I'll let you finish on that, Val. Go ahead, because I'm about to lose it. If somebody else listen, Brock Bowers is great. He's a great tight end, but he's not what we need. That's like saying we're going to take a defensive tackle at 10. We don't need that. We got enough. We got enough.
Yeah, because
okay?
they was comparing him to Mark Andrews. Yeah, exactly. I totally agree.
That's
phenomenal. They were saying that they compared him to Mark Andrews and everything, and I'm just like, wow, he's just transition, player that he's like one of the best tight ends to ever come out of college. I'm just like, man, I'm like, listen, I want a tackle. I don't want to hear nothing else. I didn't even want to hear about wide receiver at one point. I want to hear about offensive tackle. I am totally with you.
Man.
I mean, listen, if you look at Green Bay's offensive line, that team, that offensive line, the protection, if you watched against the 49ers, was beautiful. That's what you call a good offensive line right there. Like, they protected him, and he could get out of the pocket anytime he wants. That's exactly what the Jets need. They don't need, us going to us. I mean, just every time you just picture taking somebody else, just watch. Just play back the Buffalo Bills game against when we had Mike White. He just gets
Mike
speared.
White?
Yeah, when he got speared, Goldberg speared and stuff like that. I'm like, man, we can't be having that, man. Like,
here's the issue. Here's the issue, and I'm sorry, Val, I don't mean to cut you off, but here's the issue.
No, go ahead.
Back. Here's the issue with me and, like, Jets fans. How is it that everyone is worried about getting another shiny toy when those toys often get broken when we don't have the protection to utilize them properly? Everybody's screaming about Bowers, and I get it. He could be a great tight end in this league. I think he's going to be solid. He's very talented. Even people were screaming at me about Marvin Harrison Jr. We got Breece Hall and Garrett Wilson on this damn team, and we can't even utilize those guys to their full potential because nobody can block. Nobody can block. Nobody.
Exactly. You got to build up your wall first before you can.
I'm going to lose it, Val.
Get a whole bunch of weapons, man. It's just
Val,
ridiculous.
I'm going to lose it. Nobody can block. Nobody. For the love of all that is good, can we please stop talking about so many things outside of tackle or guard? We need to, especially the offensive line.
This person, I'm like, man, we got to focus on this offensive line. No, we got to focus on this offensive line. Like, okay, it's cool to talk about T. Higgins, Ridley, and everything like that, but I want to focus on this offensive line. Because if we don't get this offensive line together, we're not going nowhere. We're
nowhere.
Nowhere. Right.
Nowhere.
Because we're going to be going against this top talent. Oh, go ahead, Joe.
You know what's even crazier? If you don't get this offensive line together and block Aaron Rodgers, you just wasted capital on getting him. Not only did you waste draft capital in bringing him in because you're going to get him killed, but I think we owe him like $40 million and another 60 at some point, something million. We owe him a ton of money, right? Coming up, you literally wiped your butt with all that money too because you never properly protected him.
Exactly.
It's like it blows. Listen, we've seen this multiple years in a row. Okay, we've seen this. Sam Darnold, we struggled to protect. Let's go further back. Mark Sanchez, the later years, we struggled to protect him. He's gone.
Yep.
Sam Darnold, we struggled to protect him, right? Took him high in the draft, got him blasted, killed. He was hurt, could never progress here. He's gone. Every quarterback, even Zach Wilson, right? Early in his career, dude, he was getting destroyed from then until now. Struggling to protect him, can't protect. And we're talking about him not being the guy. Brother, if you allow Aaron Rodgers to get destroyed, and this guy is literally one of the greats, if you're doing anything else except protecting him, now again, this is outside of patching up, utilizing free agency. If everything's short of free agency in our offensive line, I have no issues with it. But if you're going into the draft needing tackle help like we do right now, brother, you better draft a tackle. You better take one.
Exactly.
Figure out which one you're going to take and take one.
You got to have an A and a plan B and a plan C because it looked like we didn't have a plan B at all when it came to Will McDonald because that pick was taking a long time to even get picked. Because I don't know if you remember, but it definitely took until like 2 seconds of the clock because they were just scrambling.
Yeah, I think with McDonald, I don't mean to cut you off, but I remember with McDonald, the thing with McDonald is all the top tackles were gone because we wanted Broderick Jones and the Patriots are traded out, so he was gone. All the other guys, even Darnell Wright, who was still supposed to be on the board in the 20s, he was gone. I think the Bears that took him. Everybody was gone. There wasn't a tackle that you could really take there. Maybe the Jets could have moved down and taken Harrison, but clearly they didn't want him either. And when you look at the guys that were taken after, like a lot of those guys didn't really flash the way that you would think that they would flash in year one after Will McDonald. Will McDonald made sense because Will McDonald was a guy that, hey, once we get up in games, we just dispatch our pass rush, and he's going to be part of it, which you've seen. He has special properties there, and we're going to destroy people. If the Jets were up, he would have been way more effective this season. But because we went down, and again, there's a lot of talks about Dwayne Brown feeling, but now we are in a space where we know our offensive line needs more help for sure because the outlook is completely different. Dwayne Brown, please. People want to get rid of Mekhi Becton. Okay, cool. That's 2 spots. Left tackle, right tackle, open completely.
I want him back.
People want to get rid of Laken Tomlinson. Okay, cool. That's your left guard spot.
Yeah,
we all love ATV, right? But ATV can't stay healthy. You gotta draft a guy that's going to be able to step in if he goes down. That's 4 offensive linemen we're talking about right now. So
exactly.
I'll give you the final word on that, Val, before I give you my last question, man. Go ahead.
Okay, man. Yeah, wow. and I absolutely agree with that, man. That's what I'm saying. That's why I want us to cut ties with Zach Wilson, at least keep that $20 million and put that to the offensive line because we need some depth as well, too. And like you said, we do owe some money from some players as well, too, for taking pay cuts as well, too. So, it's going to definitely – that's why I said we had no right to punt on our season when a lot of these players took pay cuts to be here, man. Like, can you imagine you're on defense and you're busting your behind and you're not even trying to make any type of movements? Didn't even get another wide receiver after Corey Davis he retired, and it's just like they just completely punted on the season, and that's not fair for us as fans. Like I feel like we really got cheated out this year, But I will say, man, like we definitely need to focus on our offensive line. And you get actually that last question.
Yeah, I'm telling you, unless Brock Bowers is ready to block all next season, you better not take a tight end. Listen, Val, before I let you go, give me your thoughts, man. I've been asking everyone this question. Free agency is coming up. Sauce talked about one, and Calvin Ridley and T. Higgins, you talked about that. What are 3 things you think would attract an NFL free agent to want to come to the New York Jets at this point? Mike, we're coming to you.
Man, 3, I would say, listen, it would have to be, I would say Aaron Rodgers would have to be the starting point. Our young talent in Sauce, Garrett Wilson, and Sauce, Garrett Wilson, and our young core and stuff like that. And number 3, the defense. The defense definitely shows up and everything like that. Right now, the coaching staff have to get their stuff together as well too, because their reputation is not good right now. Especially through the media and everything like that. The way how they coached this season was not good. It wasn't great. That was the only thing that was kind of killing me with the last call. But he definitely had a lot of great points as well too. But I will say they definitely have to get better with that, man. But other than that, I think that's their starting point. And for I would love T. Higgins as well too, but I think it's going to be a lot to at least get that to happen. Or and Ridley he was on the Jaguars. To answer your question as well.
Oh, he was on the Jags. Okay, I was trying to remember
where he was on the Jaguars.
I remember the Falcons. Yeah. I'm like, where did this guy go? Go ahead. I'll let you finish.
Yeah, he was on the Jaguars. So, that would be, and also Evans. Mike Evans is another player as well too. Ooh. He might be out there. Yeah, so that would definitely be great with Aaron Rodgers. Because he loves that deep pass, that go route. So that would be great for Aaron Rodgers. So we just need that solid number 2, number 1 type of wide receiver. But we definitely need some more dogs on offensive. The wide receiver, but offensive line is definitely number 1.
Listen, Val, I got to slide off. I got other callers. Next time I have a show, I want to hear from you, all right?
No problem, Joe. Everybody hit and like and subscribe to Joe. And thank you for having me, Joe, and everything he says at the end. And, of course, it is false allegations.
Oh, my goodness. Goodness gracious. Salutes to our callers, okay? Salutes to Tim. I love talking to him on a weekly basis. And salutes to Val as well. Anything that I say about Val is trust. It's factual. All right? We know this. Okay? Mike, I'll be coming to you in a second. False allegations. Good Lord. Salutes all the savages in the chat. I see y'all. Sean Bennett salutes, going back and forth. Sean Bennett's talking about Brock Bowers, man. He likes Brock Bowers. He says, what if Brock Bowers ends up being like Kittle or Kelsey? If you get a better offensive line coach, that fixes half the problem. That's because the offensive line coach can't coach. He's speaking about the issues along the offensive line. No, we have issues here, okay? Look, I get it, okay? People like Brock Bowers the same way that I remember there was guys that liked Kyle Hamilton, I believe it was, a safety for the Ravens. Look, phenomenal players, right? They're not what we need, okay? Brock Bowers can be as great as he'd like to be. Is he a tackle? Is he a guard? Is he going to protect Aaron Rodgers? Because guess what? Garrett Wilson is phenomenal. He is unbelievable, okay? Pro Bowler as a rookie, right? Smashed Jets rookie wide receiving record. Has had 1,000 yards 2 years in a row. You know what's crazy? Garrett Wilson is what y'all were saying Elijah Moore was going to be. Anybody remember saying, oh, Elijah Moore, he's going to be the greatest wide receiver the Jets have ever drafted? Garrett Wilson could end up being that guy if he ends up with a quarterback that can get him the football consistently. Because most of the games he's wide open. Wide open. And you want to know why people can't get him the football? Because no one can block. Aaron Rodgers was running for his life the first 4 plays before his Achilles exploded. Zach Wilson ran for his life most of this year. Y'all wanted him up out of the offensive issues is all Zach Wilson. Tim Boyle running for his life, getting blasted. Trevor Siemian comes in. He's taking shots, getting blasted too. The offensive line consistently struggling. I understand people liking Brock Bowers. I think he's great. I also think that kid, Marvin Harrison Jr., I think he's unbelievable. None of those guys will matter unless we have guys that can block. None of those guys' talents will matter here. And we're seeing it because we see it with Garrett Wilson. Not only do we see it with Garrett Wilson, we see it with Breece Hall. Breece Hall is one of the best running backs in all of the league, fresh off of a torn ACL. Playing this year like nothing happened. I don't think he was injured. Either he wasn't injured or he's an alien. You cannot convince me that either of those things aren't true because he's running like nothing happened. And guess what? He can't consistently make the plays that he needs to make. We can't use him to the most optimal point because nobody can block. The man was like 6 yards away from 1,000-yard season. He should have way over 1,000 yards. But he's running away from guys that are in his face when he gets the handoff because our offensive line struggles to block. Struggles to block. We got to stop this. And I understand talking about offensive linemen and picking guys up in free agency. Top offensive linemen get paid in this league. I don't know if y'all know, but we don't have the cash to grab all the offensive linemen we need, especially when you guys are talking about getting rid of Becton, Laken Tomlinson, and getting the right tackle. And on top of that, you have to address everyone, or you have to address whoever's behind ATV. We got to get it done here. There's some offensive linemen I like. Owenu, a lot of people not talking about him. Michael Owenu from the Patriots. He's a guy that's been moved around the offensive line all of his time there. He's a guy the New York Jets I would love for them to look into. But again, tackle stuff, these tackles that are coming out, these tackles that are going to be a free agency, they're going to get to the bag. They're going to get to the bag. Trust me. They're going to get to the bag. Those guys are going to get paid. Tyron Smith, there's so many guys. Trent Brown, those guys are getting to the bag. And I don't think we'll have enough. I really don't. So the draft is going to be vital for us to grab offensive line help, especially the type we need to be Super Bowl ready. All right? So we're going to continue to discuss that again. 515-602-9639. 515-602-9639 is the number. Call in. People talking about taking a wide receiver, I could see that in the second, or we don't even have a second-round pick. I could see that in later rounds, right? Or if maybe the Jets want to give up capital, we'll see. But it's going to be very tough, okay, for the New York Jets. Very tough, all right? But we'll see. Free agency's coming around. We'll see what happens. Maybe Joe Douglas will be able to convince some guys to come in. again, they're still going to be working on guys, but I tell you what, the Jets must address this offensive line, and I feel like the draft is going to be the spot where they do that. And I'm sorry, I do not want to see Aaron Rodgers get blasted, okay? 515-602-9639, 515-602-9639 is the number. Call in, give the stream a thumbs up, subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. Hit that notification bell so when I post content, you'll be in the know. Salute to all the savages in the chat. Keep putting your questions, your comments. I love going back and forth. All right? I see all of y'all, and I'll come to y'all in a second. But remember, I'm one man. All right? Next, we're going to Mike, man. I need to talk to Mike. All right? For those of you that do not know Mike, he's a savage. Oh, Mike from Tom's River. Mike, salutes. I want to thank you for calling in tonight, Mike. I'm going on a tirade here. I've gone back and forth with so many people that are talking about Brock Bowers overdrafting an offensive lineman. I know it's a little early. We're talking about the draft already, man. Give me your thoughts on that.
It all depends on free agency. Like, I heard a lot about the Dallas left tackle now and being free agent.
Yeah, Smith. Tyron Smith.
Yeah, if we don't get somebody in free agency, then we have to go with a tackle on the draft. Have to, number one.
Mm-hmm.
But if we do in the free agency, if we do pick up, like, say, Smith or whatever, I like Bowers, man. And I like the kid from Washington, the wide receiver, Oduza.
Mm-hmm.
The wide receiver.
Go ahead.
Oh, I just think if we can get it through, because I think we're going to be like $60 million on the thing.
Mm-hmm.
And then I would sign Becton to a 1-year deal, prove it, just for like maybe backup purposes, or put him at right tackle. If we get Smith, maybe we can get him for like $11 million a year, something like that. Dump Zach or trade him, because he's going to be making $11 million. Get rid of him, gone.
Mm-hmm.
Pick up Tannehill. I would like to see Tannehill maybe as backup, or the Kobe from Washington, the backup quarterback from Washington. I like him too. And if we do that, I would either get the wide receiver from Washington, or I like the tight end, the kid Bowers, man. I think he's going to be really good.
Mm-hmm. Listen, and I think that I get it. I think that Bowers is going to be a good player too, right? I think he's solid. But I don't think you're going to get Tyron Smith for $11 million, especially with all of the attention that he's going to garner in free agency. I think you're going to have to pay a lot more than that. And I think especially when you're talking about all the offensive line shifting that we're going to be seeing, right? Mekhi Becton coming back here, I think he's going to garner enough attention in free agency where I think just giving him a 1-year deal is going to be tough. I think there are other teams that are going to come a calling. And also, right, there's people that want to get rid of Laken Tomlinson. You're going to need a guard. What about that backup position for ATV? We have so little capital. And again, there's a lot of things that can be done. But as of right now, we talk about, like you said, I think we have like 16, 17 million, something like that in free agency. We have so little capital, you have to address other spots, right? And I think that when you look at offensive line, particularly in free agency, those guys get paid out the wazoo, man. And so I think the draft is going to be vital for us. To continue forward. But again, we'll see. I like Brock Bowers. I think he's a good player. I talked about Marvin Harrison Jr. If we didn't need tackle, I would be screaming for us to find some way to get that guy on the New York Jets.
Oh, yeah.
But it ain't happening. It ain't happening. Okay? I'm telling you, I think that, we'll see. There's a lot of things that can move and shake, but there's also been a lot of people, particularly Sauce Gardner, talking about bringing in guys like T. Higgins and Calvin Ridley. Are those guys you would be interested in seeing become New York Jets?
Oh, definitely. And don't forget, this is going to be the first year that we have Aaron Rodgers, and see what Aaron Rodgers can do with bringing players to the team, because we got him after free agency was over, So that's going to be another factor, Who wants to come and play for Aaron Rodgers?
Yeah. I mean, we'll see. Again, T. Higgins, I know, is going to command a lot of cash. There's already so many people screaming about him. Go ahead. You broke up. What did you say?
Cheap. I think Ridley could come cheap.
Yeah. Maybe Ridley you can get on a good value deal. I can see that.
Mm-hmm.
I can see that. Now, my question for you, Mike, because we're talking about free agents, what are the 3 things that you think would even attract free agents to become New York Jets players? Like, what are 3 things that we have here that would be like selling points for them?
You got Aaron Rodgers. You got the defense. You got Breece Hall and Garrett Wilson. I think the core's there. I think the core's there. Just, you need a couple pieces, you know?
Okay. I mean, I like that. The defense is definitely a selling point, of course, Aaron Rodgers. And the young pieces that you can continue forward and make your way. Yeah. You know, I talked about it earlier. The potential to be great, I think, is big as well, especially when you're talking about getting money outside of football, like it can happen here with Rex Ryan on TV and Nick Mangold, I believe, was on TV or something like that at one point. Mangini was on TV at some point too. I think, Bart Scott. Like, we can keep naming the guys because, you know, this Jets pipeline to the media is pretty strong. If you come here and you put it to the wall, it goes a long way. And, you know, no disrespect, but we know Father Time's undefeated. You can't play football forever. Eventually, you know, you're going to have to put that ball down and you're going to have to go somewhere else. And if you can just slide into, you know, a role where you can sit down and talk about all the things that you did, even Lavernius Coles and Wayne Corbett, they have a pretty good show going on as well. Like, yeah, a lot of that stuff comes from exactly a lot of that pub, a lot of that stuff comes from, you know, being associated, being a New York Jet, you know, coming here and playing to the wall and being successful here with the Jets. So that's huge as well. Now, as we continue to talk about this stuff, right, we were talking about the NFL draft and needs. You got Jeff Ulbrich at the national as the national team's head coach in the Senior Bowl. What are your thoughts about that, man? And how do you think that affects the New York Jets' evaluation of players in the draft as well?
It's great. It's like the second year in a row we're going to have that, you know, with Middleton, and then we're going to have him. Like, you get to see what the players are, see what their character is, you know, what their strengths are, what their weaknesses are. You can pick up sleepers, you know. I think it's good.
Yeah, especially when you can get close to those players, man, and really learn a lot of things about them. Really learn about, you know, how they tick and how they move and what their thoughts are and, you know, how they approach the game. I think that's big as well. I think that's huge, especially when, you know, you can get a little bit deeper into your draft. Well, because, again, we talk about, you know, first-round picks, but we know the draft is more than just the first round. You can end up getting a guy that's a steal. You can see, hey, this guy, he understands, you know, he has high football IQ. He can pick things up quickly, and he knows how to execute. Yeah, he's a guy that can end up, you know, really working out here with the New York Jets, man. So I can see that as well, that affecting them, especially their evaluations a little bit deeper in the draft. Now, as I give you my final question, Mike, because you've been bringing some heat to us, man, you really, really have. You look at this situation, man, and Embry, now Taylor Embry, New York Jets running back coach, a former running back coach, he's now out the door. You got Tony Dews, you got Deuce Staley. The Jets have shown interest in Deuce Staley. Tony Dews is in for our interview, man. What are your thoughts about this situation, man? Who do you want to see become the New York Jets running backs coach?
I wouldn't mind seeing Deuce Staley.
Okay.
And another thing I wanted to bring up, when you said that Aaron Rodgers was the best Jets player in the Jets uniform
in franchise history, yeah.
Yes. I'm saying Curtis Martin.
Yeah, no, listen, Curtis Martin is phenomenal. Curtis Martin is a great player.
If his knee didn't go out, he would have broke the rushing record. You know what I'm saying? He was a warrior. He was a warrior.
Listen, Mike, I'm sure. Listen, Curtis Martin was unbelievable. Okay, those are my younger years as a Jets fan. Everybody knows Chad Pennington is my favorite Jet of all time. He is amazing. Curtis Martin is unbelievable. Lavernius Coles, Wayne Corbett. I can go up and down the hills. Listen, as much as I love and respect those Jets players, okay, I'm bleed green through and through. There is nobody in the history of our franchise that has the resume that Aaron Rodgers has. Nobody.
Oh, 100%.
Nobody. And I I don't know why. Like, there's nobody with the resume that he has that has won Super Bowls the way that he has, the league MVP. He is literally the guy. And I know that we're frustrated because of how last season happened. He got hurt. But guess what? When we brought him into the franchise, the day that he was signed, Jets fans rejoiced because what did we all say to ourselves? We finally have our savior. Yeah, we have our Super Bowl. We finally have our savior. He's going to come here and save us.
Are you rooting for Detroit?
All know he's that type of guy. Huh?
Are you rooting for Detroit?
It's tough for me to to watch the playoffs. Detroit is a great story. Detroit is a great story. I tell you what, I am glad that the Bills are out of there. I'm glad you guys are gone, and especially to miss a last-second field goal. Yes, I loved it. I loved watching that go wide right. It made my day.
I'm sick of the Chiefs. I'm sick of it.
Yeah, I think I like the Lions are a great story, but I will say that I to take it all. I think they're a phenomenal football team, and I really admire Patrick Mahomes and the way he plays the game.
Well, if you look at the logo, the Super Bowl logo, the colors on the logo, it's going to be the Ravens and the 49ers.
Well, listen, Mike, watch it.
I'm just saying,
Mike, don't you come up here rabble rousing, okay? Watch it. Listen, Mike, it's been phenomenal speaking with you. You have yourself a good night, okay? You have yourself a good night. Don't you come up here with that, all right? Go Jets. Pay attention, okay? Mike trying to come up here and I don't know what Mike was trying to do, all right? I don't know what he was trying to do, but, NFL, I love you, okay? YouTube, I love you too, okay? All right? I love the Jets. I love the Jets, all right? Don't you do that. Listen, it's been a phenomenal show. It's been phenomenal, okay? It's been phenomenal. Been phenomenal. Loved going back and forth with y'all. Let me get back to the Savages in the chat, man. We got a lot of Savages going back and forth, and I got to show love and respect to them as well, okay? Man, oh, man. Sean Bennett in the chat going off. He says, Sean Bennett says he's talking about the offensive line in the draft that we got coming up. He says that's why scouts earn their money, Draft good offensive linemen day 2 and 3 that can contribute. He's trying to defend the New York Jets possibly taking Brock Bowers at 10. Okay, here's the deal. I get that. Okay, I get that making sure that you have quality, drafts, making sure that you hit your mid-round picks. I understand that, right? But, Sean, I think you need to look at as well that the New York Jets don't have a second-round pick in this upcoming draft. We got a first and a third at this point, okay? First and a third, I think we got like 2 fourth-round picks, something like that, okay? It is vital that the New York Jets address their offensive line. It is vital, okay? Now, if, again, pending, what we do in free agency, okay? And, again, I don't know if we have enough money to fix, especially at the tackle position, to grab – all the offensive linemen need and bring them in here. I feel like the New York Jets are going to look to the draft to center a lot of the issues that they have along their offensive line and wash them away, to get young blood in here, to have them protecting our offensive crown jewel, which is Aaron Rodgers. Okay? Taking a guy in the fourth and just thinking he's going to be ready day one, which can happen, right? It can happen. It's not the same as grabbing Joe Alt in the first round. You want to make sure that you can get guys in there that are going to be ready day one, closest to the surest bet. I've been saying that. That's why I think, me personally, and I'll put it out there early, I will not be surprised if Joe Douglas is willing to mortgage draft capital from the future to move back up into the first round and grab some. I would not be shocked about that at all. Wouldn't shock me whatsoever, because they understand what's on the line this upcoming season. They understand that the heat is being turned up and they understand that there's Super Bowl expectations, okay? So I get it. Okay? I understand Brock Bowers is a very attractive name. People, scream about him the same way I remember people were screaming about Hamilton, right? I get it. But you must draft one of your greatest needs to support the greatest player you've ever had in franchise history. Because Brock Bowers will not look how you want Brock Bowers to look if no one's blocking. He won't look like that. He won't look how you think he should look. You know what he'll look like? Like a tackle. Because he'll be blocking. Because no one else will be able to block. All right? So, I get it. There's players that people want to grab. I understand that. But we must draft necessities, man. We must draft our needs. We have to, especially when you're talking about win now. You have to do what it takes to seal up your win now cracks. You must. So, I get it, man. I get it. Sean even continues to go on and talk about how there's diamonds in the rough with undrafted picks, undrafted free agent picks. But those are long shots, okay? Those are long shots, all right? Salutes again to Sean. Sean says that his 3 things that he thinks could attract NFL free agents are the Jets defense. Yes, that's 1. Aaron Rodgers. Yes, that's 2 for sure. And Breece Hall. Breece Hall, I could absolutely see him being a guy that could attract, people to come here. He's definitely an offensive weapon, So we'll continue to move, man. Continue to move on. We'll see what's going on. It continues to move and shake here with the New York Jets. Jay in the chat again, another savage. He says, we can't trust our whole O-line with rookies. We also have to address that in free agency. I can see that being attempted, absolutely. Jay also says, not sure if I want a rookie protecting Rodgers' blind side. Well, I'll tell you what, we're going to see. Because I keep telling people, tackles are very expensive, especially the top-tier tackle guys. They're very expensive. Look how much we paid Dwayne Brown. I think we paid him like $11 million a season, I believe it was. Right? That was Dwayne Brown. And he was still like a free agent way after free agency was done. What do you guys think these top-tier tackles coming out in free agency are going to fetch? They're going to fetch some bread, okay? Those guys are going to get paid. All right? So we gotta look at some things, man. We've got to look at some things, all right? And again, there's other spots. If they move on from Lake and Tomlinson, got to address that guard spot, but we will see, all right? So we're going to come down and close down the show. This was a hot show, man. All right? I want to thank everybody for listening. Listen, I am the man of the people. I'm here for the people. Let me shamelessly promote my Facebook page. Everyone go on Facebook, search The Long Beach Joe Show. Like that page. My content's up there. Go ahead and give it a listen. Message me. I'll message you right back. I love going back and forth with you folks about this football team. Also, leave me some feedback. I love going back and forth with you folks about what I do here on The Long Beach Joe Show. I'm also on Twitter as well. Going over to Twitter, type in @The Long Beach Joe, @The Long Beach Joe on Twitter. Follow me, I'll follow you right back. You want to troll me, no issues. I'm the troll that lives under the bridge, and I will have my Vera Tucker jersey on at all times. All times. I can't wait till he comes back, man. I hope next year, everything's – I know he's going to be back in the swing of things, man. Aaron Rodgers took the whole offensive line out to Vegas. They have a great time out there building camaraderie. I'm just hoping that next year he comes back and just shows people how dominant he can be for a full season. All right? But it'd be me and Vera Tucker. You want to come troll? Let us know. All right? Let us know. We'll be there. Okay? Also, I'm on YouTube as well. Come on over to YouTube. Type in Long Beach Joe Jets. Long Beach Joe Jets on YouTube. Subscribe to the channel. Hit that notification bell so when I post content, you'll be in it. Also, give the videos and stream a thumbs up, okay? And if you want to troll me, get in those comments. I will troll you, and we'll go back and forth. Trust me, okay? Trust me, we will go back and forth, okay? And as always, people, when you see me in person, it is arms out, chest open, free hugs for everyone. Free hugs for everyone. The hugs will cost you absolutely nothing. I want to thank you folks for listening, calling in, just interacting, all the savages in the chat. Any way that you interact with your boy, I want to thank you for doing that, all right? Without you folks, I'm absolutely nothing, man. Thank you for taking time out of your day to interact with me, all right? So until the next show, you folks have a good one. Peace.
Judy was boring.
Hello.
Then Judy discovered ChumbaCasino.com.
It's my little escape.
Now Judy's the life of the party.
Oh, baby, mama's bringing home the bacon.
Whoa, take it easy, Judy. The Chumba life is for everybody. So go to ChumbaCasino.com and play over 100 casino-style games. Join today and play for free for your chance to redeem some serious prizes. ChumbaCasino.com.
No purchase necessary. Void where prohibited by law. 18 plus terms and conditions apply. See website for details.